Florida homeowners, it's not a question of if, but when the next hurricane will come. No matter what Florida weather has in store, StormSmart has products that protect every opening of your home while improving the look, feel, and function. From durable aluminum shutters, high-impact windows and doors, to our innovative storm catcher screens, products that enhance the beauty of your home and keep your family safe. Because smart is complete hurricane protection, and smart is peace of mind. Call StormSmart today for your free in-home consultation.
When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by StormSmart. Protect every opening of your home. And Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
How you doing, everybody? It is a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday edition of Dennis Phillips Live. And I just looked on the Hard Rock app, and it said that the odds of me making it through this 30-minute show with my voice intact is a massive 4-to-1 underdog. So I'm just saying it is definitely a possibility that I'm going to have Stokes or somebody in production come in and take over to finish the show. How you doing? Did you make it through this blast of cold air? You know, if you've been watching DPO, by the way, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on the spot, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Instagram, you're watching on Facebook, you know, for the last couple of weeks, the Euro was all over this cold snap and doing so in a way that just as accurate as could possibly be 2 weeks out. So major props to the Euro. And we talked all about it. But I don't know about you, but I was scrolling through my Facebook feed, and it looked to me like it was Armageddon, the end of the world, the apocalypse. I mean, all these posts, oh, you know, the iguanas are all going to die, and we're going to get cold. And I'm like, guys, it gets cold every now and again in Florida. Nobody even froze. No one officially even got down to 32 degrees. Take a breath, have a glass of hot milk, it's going to be okay. I mean, it got a little chilly. And you know what? We put on our coats and we made it through. All right, so anyway, and by the way, there is a frost advisory in effect for tomorrow. We'll touch on that in just a minute. Let's do some hellos. By the way, I want to thank Jason Adams. I have no idea how yesterday's DPO went. I'm sure it went swimmingly. Jason took over, doesn't really know a lot of the logistics and really wasn't that interested in learning them. So I was like, all right, we're good. And, you know, Jason could talk with the best of them for 30 minutes, so it was all good. Allie was far more diligent in trying to find out where, the times and everything. And I'm sure Allie, so thank you to Jason and thank you to Allie for hanging out and handling it. So let's do some hellos. Ryan, how you doing? Red, good to see you. Kelly, as always, nice to see you. Teresa, we've got Marcia, and Sarasota's in the house with Judith. Debbie, so a lot of people have been asking about my Vegas trip. I will be sharing some of the Vegas trip as well. There was, as often I would guess would be the case with Vegas, there was good and bad. I took my 3 oldest sons, my oldest son, Brett, and my second oldest son, Shay, and my next oldest son, Josh. I have 6 kids, and my daughter, Kendall, was not invited because it was a boys' trip. It was boys' trip to Vegas. So My apologies to the people on the plane. We took the red eye home last night, Sunday night. Excuse me. And I was coughing the whole trip. And I felt horrible. I mean, you guys know, for those of you who have been, look, I'm here in the newsroom and they're hacking. You know, people are hacking and blowing their nose. It's a war zone out here. I mean, it's bad. So you guys have been on the planes, and I know, look, I know there are two things that drive people crazy. Who's out there hacking? Somebody's out there coughing like crazy. And then Pete's over there, and you can hear Pete because Pete's got a cold. Pete has allergies, and you can hear it on the show, and you can hear it in the newsroom. But you know, back to what I was saying. So when you fly, there are two things that drive some people crazy. There's probably 50 things that drive people crazy. I don't know. I'm more laid back. I accept things for what they are. But I know there are some folks and they get their buttons pushed with two things: crying babies and people who are coughing. And I get it. I do. I totally get it. We didn't have any crying babies, but man, we had people coughing. And they're like, oh man, that weather guy, what's he doing over there? Coughing. And I'm like, you know, trying desperately. If I had a muzzle, I would have worn it, you know, but unfortunately I did not. So anyway, my apologies to anyone who was on the red eye overnight, Sunday night into Monday. Well, I still had a voice, but now clearly it's going away. So like I said, we have got a frost advisory in effect for tomorrow morning. We did not have a frost advisory this morning. And the reason we did not is because the wind was just a little bit too high. You're not going to see frost in Florida if the wind is usually greater than about 6 or 7 miles an hour. Now, we did have wind chills this morning, and I'm hearing people sneezing out there. Man, we've got sneezing, we've got nose blowing, we've got coughing, and I've got all of the above. It's a bad place right now. It's bad. So anyway, like I said, we do have the frost advisory in effect, and there it is. Okay, so anyway, Stephen, how you doing? Good to see you. Stephen in Clearwater. We've got Colleen in Tampa. Everyone dusted off their Uggs today. See, my daughter did not dust off her Uggs because some lowlife stole her Uggs from her mailroom in Denver last week. Should I pull punt? No, lowlife. So porch pot, and this is actually, I suggested this story. This is something that I think is a really interesting and useful story that I think people need to know. What do you do and what recourse do you have if lowlifes steal your stuff off the porch of porch pirates, right? And I think it's a very interesting conversation and one that I think Susan should probably do something. Because, I mean, look, it happens. We get it. There are lowlifes out there that will steal stuff off your porch. Okay. But what do? What is your recourse? Do you have a recourse to contact the shipper? Do you have a recourse to contact the FedEx or UPS? Do you have to insure things to get that? Those are, I think, actually really important things that we as consumers need to learn and be well versed on before holiday shopping. So anyway, I think it is something that I think Ask Susan should do a story on, because I don't know the answer, and I'm still arguing with UPS about it, because they stole it from her mailroom, but they did not take it from her door, and I said, bring it to the door. Bozo Bob, how you doing? Good to see you. So we got Joe in Miami's in the house. Joe, inquiring minds want to know, did you see falling iguanas today in Miami? Because based on the national news, we are in turmoil and disarray in Florida because of the cold air, because it's in the 30s. We have falling iguanas. We have people shivering, millions shivering with cold. I'm ridiculing it. I am, because it's cold. But guys, it's going to be this cold 4, 5, 6 times this year, into the winter. So this is kind of our prep work for it, right? We're slowly getting ready for what is the upcoming winter and the end of the tropical season. So, Debbie, the ban button was where it always is, in the top drawer of the file cabinet. So if they could not find the ban button, then Allie and Jason need to be banned because it's right there next to all the Milky Way bars. So, oh, I shouldn't have said that because I have my Milky Way bars there. Centerville, Georgia, how you doing? Good to see you. Diane, nice to see you. So, yeah, Bridget's saying get a hold of the delivery company, but not necessarily, Bridget, because I've been talking to, UPS, and there are some places that, it's like some places, they try to pass the buck. They don't want to pay for it at first, but then if you keep pressing, maybe they will. I think that's an interesting story, and not even interesting. I think it's one that needs to be done before the holiday season. Anyway, like you see here, we have a frost advisory in effect. The reason that we did not have frost this morning is because it was too windy. Tomorrow morning will be less windy. Usually, when you are on the second day of a cold snap in our area, typically the second day is colder than the first. Now, the models are having none of it. The models are actually warmer tomorrow than they were this morning. Excuse me. But it is already 39 degrees. All right, this is my point, and then we got to go to a break. Look at the current temperature right now in Crystal River. It is already 39 degrees in Crystal River. So what do the models say the low temperature will be tomorrow morning in Crystal River? Well, I think it said 43. So clearly that is a giant bust, and it is going to be colder. Here's what the models are showing. All right. So this is the forecast for tomorrow morning. Julie is wearing socks. Julie, are you wearing socks with your flip-flops? That's what I want to know, Jules. That's what I want to know. So tomorrow morning, these numbers are too high. They just are. Look at Crystal River, 43 degrees, just saying. Jake, you're right. It is colder tonight than it was last night. So I don't know what the models are doing and why they're saying that, but almost always on the second night of an event of cold weather, you have calmer winds, radiational cooling, and colder air. And I think there will be a freeze in some of our northern counties. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the short-term numbers, the long-term numbers, the tropics, because the new tropical outlook came out. It's still hurricane season. And I'll recap some of the highs and lows of my Vegas trip coming up in 90 seconds as Dennis Phelps Live continues. Okay, we are in a first break, and as always, I am heavy. What else is new? Marcia, I'm with you. I keep my fan on too. And I think Greg D said the same thing. He posted something, do you still keep your fan on? I still keep my fan on, and I still have one foot out of the covers and one foot under the covers. I don't know why. I think a lot of people do that, and I'm not really sure. Like, it does. I get some hot something. I think the cough did not go away, Bridget. The voice is probably going to go away, but what is it about having one foot out from under the covers and one foot under the covers that makes you feel significantly cooler? It's got to be science, because it is absolutely a thing, right? I don't know, Jake. It's a good question. Why are the models busting tonight? I have no idea, because excuse me. I need to mute my mic. I think if I'm going to be hacking, I need to be muting my mic. All right, we have 5 seconds left. Three. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Dennis Phillips Live. Sue just said, are you sick? You think? Yes, I am sick. It is science. In the break, if you were watching on TV, thank you very much for watching on the TV. Watching on TV, watching on social at the same time, you kind of get a little behind the scenes stuff. Let me tell you, we are far more cutting edge on the social side than on TV. TV, you got to behave yourself a little bit. Social, not so much. So, we are far more risque on the social side than we are on the TV side. But, as I was saying, now, this actually had nothing to do with Vegas, Patricia. I was sick before I left for Vegas. This was Ryan Phillips. My daughter got the entire house sick. And isn't that always the way it works? They come home from school, they're touching everything, you know, they get sick, and then we all pay for their sins. Isn't that the way that it is in life, right? We as parents and siblings pay for the sins of our younger daughters and sons for what they do. And that is life. Hey, so I was talking about tropics, right? The new number just came out. The new Climate Prediction Center came out. And this takes us through December 2nd. So even though we kind of called it last week, I am calling it right now, November 11th, 11/11/2025, hurricane season's over. It's over. It's over. All right? Don't care. If anything else develops, it won't be a hurricane. All right? And we'll go ahead and look at some of the we'll look at the models. And I'll be honest, I haven't even looked at the tropics, so who knows? I mean, maybe they're showing something different, but I don't care, because whatever they're showing, it ain't going to happen. Hurricane season's over. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and let's just look at it anyway. Oh, boy, yeah, look at the GFS out there. All right, so this is Thursday. Here, if you want to get your bearings, there's Florida right there. You know, there's the tropics, there's the Gulf. All right, so here we go. This takes us to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, a little Pacific something. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Nothing, nothing, nothing. There's Thanksgiving. Ooh. So nothing tropical per se, even though a little something right there. But, and I'm telling you, it's over anyway, so I don't care. It is, oh, Bonnie, Dennis, you sound sick. You think? So anyway, here's the euro. All right, let's see what the euro shows. By the way, props to the euro. It has a pretty decent front coming through. Props to the euro for nailing this cold snap 2 weeks out. And another, boy, the euro does, look what it does. Brings several fronts into the Gulf and then develops weak low pressure along that front, not tropical, but you know, potential rain, which we need. Brings the front through South Florida, and then another low pressure develops right there in the Gulf along that stalled out boundary. Right, that's the day before Thanksgiving, when I'm going to be frantically putting up my Christmas lights. Mike, are you sick? Yes, I am. I definitely am. No, Bonnie, I'm just joking. Come on, Bonnie, I'm just joking. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the long range through Thanksgiving forecast. All right, we already talked about it. We have a frost advisory. You are correct, John. I have banned the rest of hurricane season. It is gone. I have to work, Red. There's no bed for me. I must be working. All right, Terry, how you doing? How are your chickens? All right, so anyway, there's a look at the long range. Now let's look at the euro first, because it's just been more accurate. So what we look for, remember, is a big dive of blue lines if you're wanting cold weather. And if you don't want cold weather, you want the blue lines to go away. Here's Thursday. The blue lines are going away. They're in the Northeast, but not us. And look at that Pacific storm, by the way. Look at that Pacific storm the end of the week. That's some rain for Southern California. So another trough in blue across the Northeast, but not for us. High pressure sits over us. We're going to get nothing but sunshine for a week. That's next Wednesday, next Thursday. There comes the next front. Next Friday, front comes through a week from this Saturday. All right? But you don't see a lot of blue lines behind it. So it stays mild. Even into Thanksgiving week. Now, this is the day before Thanksgiving. So we'll start talking about that for travelers. Excuse me. There's the euro. Look at the GFS. Yikes. Euro. GFS the day before Thanksgiving. They are not identical. Not even close. Not even close. So, thank you, Debbie. So, the Euro says after the cold air of tomorrow morning, we are done with it through Thanksgiving. Okay? With no, well, actually, the Euro does bring some rain in with a front like in 10 days, but you know how accurate that is. Let's look at the GFS, or it could be renamed the even a blind squirrel. Might be right from time to time. There's the Thursday. The GFS has been so horrible. There's Friday, there's Saturday, same storm. Look, Euro GFS, identical. All right? Happened to me too, Bridget. I get bronchitis too, and it lasts for a month. It's horrible. There's Sunday, there's Monday, there's Tuesday. We warm up next week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No real rain. The GFS does bring a front through around Thanksgiving and much colder air. Look at that 540 line all the way down to central Georgia. So there it is. In a nutshell, cold tomorrow morning, chilly tomorrow afternoon, and a warming trend into the weekend into next week. I'm late for a break. Oh boy, am I always late for a break. Back in 90 seconds on DPL. Okay, we are on a break. Thank you, Abby. You know what? I actually feel okay. I do. I actually feel okay. It's just my voice is gone. But yeah, I still have to do another break too. Man, I am behind. So how you guys doing? How you been? How was your weekend? The Bucks lost. So I was in a sports book. I went to the Circa and Paris, and I was in all these sports books with my sons. And it was interesting to watch the different dynamic in the sports books. Like, the people who were angry were throwing bottles against the wall. It's a true story. There was one game, Houston and Jacksonville. Houston was a 1.5 favorite. They were losing the whole game. Jacksonville was winning, blew the game. Still, Jacksonville was losing by 1. Houston took a 1-point lead. They were not covering the spread, but they were winning. And the last play of the game, Trevor Lawrence gets sacked on like the 35-yard line. Houston picks up the ball, runs, scores a touchdown, and covers the game on the last play of the game. Listening to the different sides, half of the people were, yeah, the other half were, I didn't have the game either way, so I didn't care. But watching the dynamics was kind of crazy. All right, we are back on TV in 3, 2. The burning question you may have as you're back on DPL, and we mentioned this earlier in the newscast, is why do some of us sleep with one foot out? We just do it under the covers and one not under the covers. Well, somebody just said, where was it? Phyllis said, Google says 1 foot out of the covers and 1 foot under the covers helps to regulate body temperatures. So there you go. Thank you, Phyllis. Now we've learned something. You may not have any idea what's going on in the weather, but you learned the whole 1 foot out, 1 foot, and of course the fact that you keep ceiling fans on. I do too. I like the sound, like the background noise. I cannot sleep in a really completely quiet room. Cannot. Might be that I have 6 kids and I'm used to mayhem and chaos, but I cannot, literally, it freaks me out. I feel like I get claustrophobic, so I can't do it. So, have not put any of the outdoor decorations up yet. So, by the way, this will be entertaining. So next Wednesday, Adam Walser is going to be here on DPL Plus. And Adam is going to be talking about HOAs. All right? I can't wait to have a discussion with y'all about HOA. Did I tell you the time the HOA knocked on my door on Christmas Eve and told me to stop going on TV and inviting people into the neighborhood to look at the lights? Did I do that? Can't remember. Did I mention the time that I think HOAs, a lot of times you've just got people on there who are really angry? And I'm joking. Look, there is a lot of people really like HOAs because they help keep the place nice. Totally get that. But every now and again, you know what I'm saying here, you get 1 or 2 people on there who are nothing but power hungry. That's all they want. They want, it's my opinion, it's just my opinion. My comments do not represent the beliefs of Tampa Bay 28 News. Put the disclaimer out there. But in my opinion, a lot of times in HOAs, you get like 1 or 2 people who are power crazy, and they just want to make it difficult for people, and they love that. That is just my opinion. So anyway, so yes, Adam will be here to talk about HOAs. Condo associations, same. So bring your HOA problems and your questions next Wednesday night, as Adam Walser will be right here to talk about HOA's friend or foe. No, I just came up with that name. Look, I know they do good work in a lot of, they absolutely do. But you know what I'm saying here. You know what I'm saying. All right, one last break and we'll be back with our final forecast. My voice is actually getting stronger. See, the more I talk, the more stronger it gets. It's a plus. And tomorrow is the Great American Teach-In. So I'm supposed to go to 7 schools tomorrow. The odds of it actually happening, who knows? We'll be back in 90 seconds as DPL continues. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean, you got, look, I understand why they're there, but I'm telling you, you get one person out there who doesn't like you for whatever reason, who knows why, and if they happen to be on the HOA board, man, your life is just, I mean, am I right or am I right? And it shouldn't be that way, but it is. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, you guys are talking about HOAs. Yeah, I get it. So yeah, I mean, it's you know, one of those things that, you know, and in my neighborhood specifically, it's been neighborhood Christmas lights have been going on for 40 years, right? The difference is you got somebody who happens to live in the neighborhood who goes on TV and invites the whole area to come look at them because they love to share the neighborhood lights with everybody. It's a thing, right? It is a thing. So every year we go through it. Every year. Oh, it makes me laugh. And there's always a few people, HOAs are great and we love them. And then most of the people are like, no, not so much. Anyway, we're back in 3, 2. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to our last segment of Dennis Phillips Live. Let's go back and recap one more time about what's going on here. We have got a frost advisory in effect. Right there. There's your map. Frost advisory in effect for inland Pasco County, Hernando, and Citrus County. Okay? Calm winds, very cold temperatures will give us some patchy frost. So you might have a little bit of scraping to do. You might have a little bit of scraping to do in your windshields if you live in our northern counties. You can use a credit card if you're not used to it, by the way. But I don't think it's going to be a big deal. You know what? Tomorrow we will talk about why there can be frost when it's not 32 degrees. Matter of fact, no, we'll talk about that after we finish on TV. That'll be our conversation. Because people are like, how is it possible, dew points in the 20s and 30s right now. How is it possible that you can have frost if it isn't freezing? How is that even possible? It's a good question. And I will answer that coming up in just a minute. 53 degrees right now. We're already in the 30s in Crystal River. Red, white, and blue for Veterans Day. Thank you for your service, veterans. The high of 61, the low of 38. And the 7-day shows we will see a warming trend by the end of the week and into next week with highs back in the lower 80s. So thank you very much for tuning in to Dennis Phillips Live. Have a great night. Bring in the pets, cover the plants, and we'll see you on our next edition of DPL. Okay, so how can you have frost? How can you have frost if it isn't 32 degrees? How is that possible for there to be ice if it isn't 32 degrees? How's that possible? Well, I will give you the answer. the amount of energy, well, there's two reasons. One, there can be frost on a roof, and the roof's up higher and it's colder. It could be 35 at the surface, but it might be 32 or 31 on the roof. Blades of grass. Here's the tricky thing. All right, this has to do with dynamic meteorology. All right, it takes less energy. All right, you ready? All right, it takes less energy to create sub-freezing temperatures on a blade of grass than it does to bring, and that blade of grass to 32 degrees or below, right? Than it does to turn the air to 32 degrees. Now, say it again. It takes less energy. So, theoretically, the energy out there with the cold could make the blade of grass surface 32 degrees or 31 degrees, but that same amount of energy is incapable of making the air 32 degrees. And that is a common situation. So the air temperature might be 35, but the blade of grass where the frost forms could be 32. Or it's on top of a roof or on your windshield where there could be frost developing. All right, does that make sense? So there it is. That is the science behind why, even though the thermometer might say 35, you see frost. Because the thermometer is measuring the air 6 feet up, often, the official temp, as opposed to the temperature at the surface on the blade of grass. Okay? Why do strawberries like frost and ice? Now, Terry, that is another interesting question. I am not an agriculturist, but I do know a couple of things about that. All right? One, apparently, and I don't know why, because I'm not a botanist, but when it's cold out, apparently the response of the strawberry plants to the cold is to produce more sugar. Something like that. I'll tell you the weather part of it, I do know. More sugar, whatever it produces to make it sweeter, which I'm assuming kind of a fructose kind of a thing. I don't know, am I just, maybe not. But my point is the berries are sweeter. They do get sweeter when the air gets cold, and my assumption is that cold air has something to do with the chemistry of the berry and the plant to make it cold, all right? That is why they're sweet. Now, why do farmers spray the plants with water? All right, now that is I've always found this very interesting. The reason they do that is because those strawberry plants get damaged when the air temperature is 24 degrees or lower. Okay? 24 or lower is when damage occurs. So they cover the strawberry plants. The berries are a innocent bystander. The berries are collateral damage, in a sense, because the goal is to not treat the berries with water. They're going to get waterlogged, and they're not going to be good most of the time. But what happens is when you coat the strawberry plants with water, that water freezes on the plant to ice and locks in the temperature of that plant to 32 degrees. Thus, you do not get plant damage when the ice melts because the plant did not get to 24 degrees or lower. How cool is that, right? I think that is really cool. So that is why. That is why it happens. There you go. So Carol says, produces sweet equals energy to protect the berry. You know what? Certainly a possibility. I have no personal knowledge at all. I am not a botanist, not really a farmer. I try. I don't really have much of a green thumb. Did have a nice little vegetable garden, but peppers, could grow peppers easily. Peppers grew really well. Strawberries, not so much. For me, and I think I tried it too late in the season, because once you plant stuff in like March or February, once we get our hot time, it's just no good. Okay. Yes. So Melissa says, I suggest everyone please put your plants inside. All right. Pasco County, Hernando County, Citrus County, frost advisory. Inland Pasco County. Nobody else. Here, I'll show you the map again. Call up the map. And then I'm going to call it. I made it way better through this show than I thought I would. I'm going to be honest. I thought for sure on the over-under, the under would have won. But the over hit. So that's a plus. All right, here we go. Call this up. This is the frost map. Farmer's Almanac is not gone. Kevin, really interesting point you just brought up. Great. Emily, how you doing? All right. Kevin, just really interesting. So, if you remember, we had the editor in charge, in chief, grand poobah of the old Farmer's Almanac the last 2 years. There are 2 almanacs out there. There's the Farmer's Almanac and there's the old Farmer's Almanac. And the one that's in the yellow cover that you see at the grocery store or wherever is the old Farmer's Almanac. And that one is not out of business. See? So there you go. The things you learn. All right. Let me see. I am back, Emily. Yep, I went to Vegas with my sons, and I was going to share some Vegas stories. Got Jack in the Box. All right, so you guys know I have an affinity for bad tacos. I just do. So my sons and I went to the Circa. That's kind of a funny story. Yeah, maybe it's one of those you had to be there. But my sons and I went to the Circa Sportsbook, and we bought chairs, because you have to buy chairs if you're going to have a place to sit. And then those chairs are always yours. So you can go off, and I did. I went across the street to the California and bought Ethel M chocolates, because you guys know I love Ethel M chocolates. And went back, and our seats are still there. So we stayed there for almost the entire day through the Hawaii Rainbow Warrior San Diego State Aztec college football game, which started 8 p.m. Pacific time, which is 11 p.m. 11 p.m. Eastern time. So anyway, we were there most of the night. After we left, we were hungry, so I wanted to get Jack in the Box. And we thought about DoorDash. We were going to order DoorDash. I'm like, no, because we got a cab. So we told the cab we wanted to go to the hotel, and I'm like, no, let's find a Jack in the Box drive-thru. He didn't really speak English very well, so we were kind of showing him, and I'm like, here's the Jack in the Box app. Let's go here, and I'll buy you dinner too. And he's like, no. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll buy you dinner. So me and my boys were driving through wherever we were in Vegas to find a Jack in the Box. We finally found one. We ordered 12 tacos and some other stuff. And again, they are the greatest, worst tacos you'll ever eat in your life. I love them. I love Jack in the Box tacos, but they are horrible. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. There's some things that are really terrible, but you love them anyway. Jack in the Box tacos are those. So anyway, I did get the truffles, Bridget. I got lots and lots of stuff. So, and then you just douse it with the hot sauce. So if there is anything in there that you don't like, it doesn't matter. So that was our dinner on Saturday night. Sunday, we got up and we walked down to In-N-Out, because there's an In-N-Out burger place right by the giant Ferris wheel thing. And In-N-Out burgers, that particular In-N-Out restaurant's a really good In-N-Out restaurant. I've never had a bad burger there. So we had, let's see, We had pizza at Pin Up Pizza. We went to Caesar's Buffet, which some guy almost got in a fight with us for some ridiculous reason. We didn't do anything wrong. He probably lost money and whatever. So we went to the buffet. It was great. It's pricey, but it's all you can eat and really good food. Crab legs, lobster claws, everything. I wasn't feeling real well. I didn't eat a lot, but the boys ate a ton. So we had that, and then had Jack in the Box, had In-N-Out burgers, and maybe one of the highlights, we went to the Oyo Casino. So this is kind of interesting. So there used to be the Oyo Casino used to be the Hooters Casino, and they have a Hooters in there. I love Hooters wings. So they used to have $1 blackjack. They went from the Hooters to the Oyo, and when they did, there were some $1 blackjack tables. I'm like, this is great. Me and my boys, we can play dollar blackjack and sit at the table and have fun and not lose any money, really. Even if you lose, you don't lose. And have a good time. So we got there, and the Hooters restaurant was out of business. They closed it. I was devastated because we wanted wings. So then we got to the dollar blackjack table. They didn't have it anymore. But they had $5 blackjack, which is still as cheap as you'll find in Vegas. And it was a Friday afternoon, and there was nobody else there. So me and Brett and Shay and Josh sat at the blackjack table for about an hour and a half. And we each started with $100, and nobody lost. I think I won $35. Josh was down to $10, but built it back up, and he won $30. Shay, I think, won $60, and Brett, I think, won almost $100. So we all won, and we sat there for 90 minutes playing at a $5 blackjack table. So that was just like a wonderful experience. That was probably, for me, the highlight of the trip, because we were there the whole time, right? And together and doing the whole bonding thing. So then that night we went to the buffet, and that was awesome. And we were exhausted because the flight left, so went back to the room, went to bed. Shay and Josh went out and gambled more, but me and Brett just went back to bed because it was only like 10 o'clock at night, but 1 o'clock our time, and we had been up because we had a 6 a.m. flight, and I didn't sleep because I was so sick the night before. So went to bed. Got up early Saturday, went to the Circa, got a chairs, sat there the entire day, loved it, and then went on our Jack in the Box run. And then Sunday we went to the Paris and watched, it was Shay's birthday, my son Shay's birthday, his 29th birthday. So we got him a little cake and a candle and watched some football and then just bummed around and then left that night. So it was a really, really nice father-son experience. It really was. I was thrilled. And I think when our other son, Jake, turns 21, we'll probably do it again. You know, because I think I don't know if he would enjoy it, but it's just one of those ritual things that we've done in our family. So anyway, that's about it. You see, we still have the frost warning going on. I do take Mucinex D, and Bridget. That is my go-to. What else? So I think that's about it. I'm be back tomorrow, planning on being back tomorrow. My voice actually sounds a little stronger now than it did an hour ago. So hopefully it'll stay that way. Current temps. Let's go ahead and look one more time at what's happening locally, and then we will be on our way. Okay, so there's the radar. Radar's gonna be quiet for a while. Yeah, holy cow. It's already 36 degrees in Brooksville. 36 in Brooksville, 39. Happy birthday, happy belated birthday, Cindy. 39 in Crystal River. So yeah, the model is just a total bust on the temperatures for low temperatures tomorrow morning. Dew points in the 30s. Here, again, this morning we dropped down. The low this morning in Brooksville was 35, and it's already 36 at 8 o'clock at night. So I'm just flabbergasted that the models were not colder. 53 right now at the airport. Dew point of 28. Morning low in Tampa, 38. That was record breaking. Satellites quiet. Looks like it's going to stay that way. Futurecast keeps us sunny right on through the weekend. And tomorrow morning, 40s and 50s, mostly 40s in Pinellas County. Low to mid 40s, Hillsborough County. The models are just high. They're just ridiculous. I mean, look, Brooksville's low 40. Come on. We're already at 36. Alyssa, how you doing? Good to see you. And Stephen, it is. Yeah, it is. And then there's the rest of the area tomorrow morning. All right? So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. My voice actually feels better now than it did before, so I just got to talk more. Go figure. So have a great night. A Snuggle Alert remains in effect, as you would expect. And we will be back on tomorrow night's edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you.